Hello, I'm Julius Kochan, a translator working from Chinese into English and Russian into English. I'm based at the University of Oxford, but before that, I studied and worked for a number of years in the Chinese-speaking world, including teaching Chinese to English translation. I wrote a translation of Chinese author Shen Yang's short story 超商小孩的家, or The Home of the Spare Child, under the aegis of Paper Republic, which is an indispensable hub of resources relating to Chinese into English translation and contemporary Chinese literature. The website explains when and by whom many Chinese texts were translated into English. But in addition to that, Paper Republic also has a new initiative, Read Paper Republic, where they publish original Chinese texts into English. And in every edition there is a theme, and the most recent theme has been home. And it was under this theme that my translation of Shen Yang's text was included in the initiative. So the story is about the childhood, adolescence, and coming of age of a child born above the allowed quota of one during China's one-child policy. When I first read the story, I was struck by the emotional range. There are, of course, many moving moments, and it's an extremely honest narrative. But there are also extremely funny moments. So preserving this range, which is, in my opinion, what makes the story so special, along with keeping intact Shen Yang's rich and colourful language, was a really exciting challenge for me. And I'll now read a short extract from the story. Every day of my third year in middle school was torture. It was in that period that I acquired the habit of not wanting to go to that house. If I could go to my friend or classmate's home, then there was no way I'd be going to that house. If I could wander around aimlessly on the street, then there was no way I'd be going to that house. If I could sneak into the cinema and watch films all day, then there was no way I'd be going to that house. At my friends' homes, I could feel the love of other people's parents. On the street, I could observe households beaming with happiness. In the cinema, I could imagine that I was that happy child on the screen. If other people's homes were a safe harbour of protection from stormy winds, then my home was being buffeted by the storm to end all storms. All of my hardships came from that tumultuous home. For other people, leaving a home that they'd lived in for years is an occasion full of sorrow, whereas I couldn't wait to leave the home of my auntie and uncle in Henan, and was ecstatic when I finally could. The moment the train set off, I felt a sense of liberation, as if I was finally being released from prison after an 11-year sentence. The ridiculous thing was that it was only when I really did return to the home of my biological parents in Shandong, which I had been thinking of day and night, that I realized all I'd done was swap one prison for another. It turned out that after 11 years apart, absence had not made our hearts grow stronger. On the contrary, their politeness made me feel estranged from them. Their intimacy made me feel alien. That place wasn't my home either. I was only a guest there. But this guest was far from well behaved. If anyone provoked me, I'd turn into a spiky hedgehog and barge around the place, pricking people. They couldn't bear me, and I didn't like them either. They didn't know what I'd gone through all alone for those 11 years away. They never showed any active concern for me. They never asked, and I didn't tell them. If I had told them, they wouldn't have been able to put themselves in my shoes anyway. There were only 5 people whose names were in the official residence booklet that was hidden away in the drawer of their big cupboard. Those 5 were the real family that loved each other. I was just a spiky intruder in their home. They spoke Shandong dialect. I spoke Henan dialect. They drank their jellied tofu salty. I drank mine sweet. They called their parents daddy or mummy. I would just shout an A or oi to get their attention or greet them. When they were dishing out rice, they scooped it out from the sides. When I was dishing out rice, I used the whole spatula to dig out a massive hole right in the middle. They resented my lack of etiquette and house training. I resented their fussiness. They spoke in a refined and delicate way. I was used to telling people to get lost like nobody's business. If they had a problem with someone, they rarely took it up with them directly. If I had a problem with someone, I'd go ballistic in front of them. They felt as if no one owed me anything. I felt as if the whole world was in my debt. They liked to chat and laugh loudly in the sitting room. I was more used to being peaceful on my own in my bedroom. I stopped seeing Doraemon's anywhere door in my dreams, and I was no longer desperate to return to anyone's home. 18-year-old me just wanted to be far away from everything. In 2006, the moment I got on the train to Xi'an, where I'd got a place at the university, that same liberating feeling of breaking free from my cage swept across my whole being. From being desperate for home to being disappointed with home to fleeing from home. It had taken me 20 years, but I'd finally understood the truth, and I finally understood my fate. Home no longer seemed that important. I had turned into a small snail, carrying my little shell on my back. Wherever I crawled to, and wherever I stopped, that was my home. The new, grown-up and independent version of me was even bold enough to resist my family in Henan and Shandong. I no longer had to be subservient towards them, nor did I have to tread on eggshells under other people's roofs. And I definitely didn't have to worry about being kicked out of the house and made homeless. Whenever I appeared, by now as an adult, at my aunt's home in Henan, or at my parents' home in Shandong, if they made me unhappy, then I would just assert myself and my independence. I'm no longer the little girl that I was then without a home. If I'm not happy, I'll waste no time in packing up my things and making myself scarce without a second thought.
Hi everyone, I'm Shen Yang, author of More Than One Child. In More Than One Child, I recounted my turbulent childhood as an excess-born child, living under other people's roof during the one-child policy era. To me, to us, to we excess-born children, home was always like this eternal, unavoidable topic. Which one is our home? Where is our home? Well, the sense of belonging was always like haunting us. So when I saw this topic, home, from Paper Republic this year, I was like, okay, I need to say something about what does home really mean to us. And that's why we have this piece, 超生小孩的家, and I'm really grateful that Paper Republic chose this piece, and Julius Kochan was the translator of this piece, and I'm really, really grateful. He did an excellent job, and his translation is really vivid and smooth, and he really gets to the point what I really want to express in this article. So I'm gonna read this in Chinese, and I hope you enjoy it. 初中3年的每一天都是煎熬，也就是在那段日子里，我养成了不愿回家的习惯。能去同学家住，绝不回去；能在大街上瞎溜乱晃，绝不回去；能偷偷溜进电影院看一天电影，绝不回去。在朋友家，我感受着来自别人父母的爱；在大街上，我观察着亮着幸福灯光的家庭；在电影院里，我幻想着自己是屏幕里那个幸福的小孩。别人的家是避风港，我的家却是暴风港。我所有的风雨都来自那个摇摇晃晃的家。别人的离别充满了忧伤、不舍与留恋，我的离别充满了迫不及待和心花怒放。火车启动那一刻，我甚至有一种坐了11年牢终于出狱的解脱感。可笑的是，当我真的回到那个日思夜想的家时，我才意识到自己不过是换了个监狱而已。11年的分离并未因为思念而拉近我与他们的距离，相反，他们的客气让我感到疏离，他们的亲昵让我感到陌生。那儿好像也不是我的家，我在那儿只是个客人。我这个客人可不客气，谁惹我了，我就变成一只大刺猬，横冲直撞，到处扎人。他们看不惯我，我也不喜欢他们。 他们不知道我独自一人在外11年经历了什么，也从未主动关心过我。他们不问，我也不说，说了他们也未必能感同身受。藏在大衣柜抽屉里的户口簿上，他们一家5口才是相亲相爱的一家人，我不过是一只长满了刺的入侵者。他们说山东话，我说河南话。他们喝咸豆腐脑，我喝甜豆腐脑。他们叫爸爸妈妈，我叫 we、hey、you。他们盛米饭从边上舀，我盛米饭一铲子把中间一大块给挖走了。他们嫌我没规矩没家教，我嫌他们事儿多烦人。他们说话斯斯文文，我张口闭口去你大爷。他们看不惯谁很少正面冲突，我看不惯谁当面就开怼。他们觉得谁都不欠我，我觉得全世界都欠我。他们在客厅里热热闹闹，我一个人在卧室里安安静静。机器猫的任意门再也没有出现在我的梦里，我也不再渴望回到任何人的家。18岁的我只想远离一切。2006年考上大学，坐上开往西安列车的那一刻，再次冲破牢笼的自由感席卷全身。从对家的渴望到对家的失望，再到对家的逃离，我用了将近20年的时间，终于看清了事实，也终于掌握了自己的命运。家好像也没那么重要了，我变成了一只小蜗牛，背着自己小小的壳，走到哪儿停到哪儿，哪儿就是我的家。长大独立的我，甚至有了对抗家人的勇气。我不用再看任何人的脸色，也不用小心翼翼地活在别人的屋檐下，更不用担心被人扫地出门无家可归。我以一个大人的姿态出现在河南的大姑家、山东的父母家，他们惹我不开心，我就挺直腰杆大吼道：我已经不是当年那个没有家的小女孩了，不高兴，我现在马上立刻就可以收拾东西走人。收拾东西走人了，再见。